All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is Grant Kaplan from the Law Office of Grant Kaplan, based in Florida, the United States of America. This is the first time I've done this year, so welcome, everybody. The name of our law office is the Law Office of Grant Kaplan, based in Florida, United States. We assist clients throughout the United States and, in fact, around the world. And our email address is grant@gkaplanlaw.com. That's grant@gkaplanlaw.com. And the website information is www.american-immigration-lawyer.com. Our number is +1 561 347 8440. So today we're going to be talking about visas and green cards for the United States in the current world environment. As everybody knows, there is strife and conflict everywhere, the Middle East, Africa, South America, all over the place. And the United States seems to be the constant, as always, the righteous, upstanding leader of economy, militarily, and everything else. Small wonder that everybody wants to come to the United States and wants to be based in the United States. So much so that, as you all know, the borders are frequently breached, and there is huge discussion and debate regarding security at the southern border in particular. The United States still offers a mechanism for those wanting to come and who are eligible to come to provide a base for the American dream. So I want to discuss coming to the United States in the current world environment. As I've indicated, there is struggle and strife all over the place, and the United States is determined to be the one place in the world, at least, where people can come and still live the American dream. So what I want to do is I want to go through various visa categories for everybody so that everybody can understand. And once again, email address grant@gkaplanlaw.com and telephone number +1 561 347 8440. I'll principally be focusing on business-based visas today, but of course we cover the full spectrum of visas, including removal-based visas, abuse cases, asylum cases, and everything else. And the team that we have here in Florida at our office is fully equipped and trained to deal with all aspects of immigration. Today we're going to be talking mainly about business immigration, and in particular, how can you come in as a business person or a professional employee to come into the United States to come and live and work. So let's go through a couple of options. If you're a business person and you own or manage a business, a viable business in your country, and that business is at least 2 years old and employs a couple of people, and you are a manager or an executive in that company and have been for at least 12 months out of the last 3 years, that makes you eligible to come in to set up a branch or a subsidiary of that entity in the United States, provided that that is a viable business that you have in your country and is likely to continue as such. So typically what that allows you to do is come in to set up a branch or a subsidiary of that entity in the United States, and in so doing, come in as a representative of the company from your country. Typically, if you're coming in to set up a new business, you will be given initially 1 year to set up and operate. This is what is known as an L1, intra-company transfer visa. So you'll come in, you'll set up and operate your new business in the United States. It is not necessary that you have to be in the same business that you're in your own country. So for example, if you're in construction in your own country, you do not have to be in construction in the United States. You could set up any business or buy any business, even unrelated, as long as the US company is held by the foreign company. At least 51% of the shareholding belongs to the foreign entity, or you have the majority shares in each, the foreign company and the US company. You don't need to be too confused about that. Of course, we will go through all of this with those who are interested in doing so. The L1 is a great visa to have because it is also known as a dual intent visa. There is no minimum capital investment required. You do need to show that you have sufficient money to set up and operate your business, to draw a salary, and to set up and be viable, typically within a year. If you're coming in to buy a business, that's perfectly permissible, and you could put that in the name of your U.S. corporation, and that would certainly speed up the process for you. The added benefits of the L1 visa are that your spouse, if you're married of course, will also get work authorization to work wherever they wish, and children under the age of 21 can come in as well and attend school and do whatever else it is that is required. Typically after 1 year, we would file for an extension, and at that point we would look to see if the U.S. business is viable from an immigration point of view, and if it is, we would recommend that you proceed to file for a green card. And that process could take anywhere from 12 to 18 months, and that would entitle you and your family to get green cards. Once you have your green cards, U.S. permanent residence, of course, you do not need to maintain the business either in your original country or in the U.S. if you do not wish to, and you can proceed to close or to modify or do whatever else it is that you wish to do. So the L1 has always been the mainstay of our business, and we probably process 1 to 2 new L1 applications from all over the world every week. As I say, it's a great visa option for a number of different reasons. Also, many people do not wish to spend all of their time in the U.S. They still need to attend the business in their home countries, and the L1 is the ideal vehicle which allows them to come and go from the United States as long as they're in effective control of the U.S. business. And we can certainly discuss what that means for those who are interested in doing so. So that is the L1 visa, great visa option. You do not need to be General Electric or have a huge multinational organization. If you have a viable business, it could be a smallish business, as long as it's viable and been operating as I've indicated to you, that would certainly fit the bill. Again, my name is Grant Kaplan, the law office of Grant Kaplan, based in Florida, United States. We assist clients throughout the world. My email address, grant@gkaplanlaw.com, and the website is www.american-immigration-lawyer.com, and telephone number +1 561 347 8440. Good, so let's press on. There is another visa called an E2 visa, which is available to citizens of certain countries, which allows them to come in to the United States, to come in and invest typically $100,000 into a business, whether it's an existing business or a new business. They could buy even 50% of a business. That would be perfectly in order. And this allows you to come in, set up, buy a business with this investment, which could be borrowed or gifted to you, by the way, if you have wealthy relatives or someone else or you're lucky in the casino, whichever it may be, to come in and set up or buy this business in the United States. Typical countries would be Canada, would be most European countries. There are even certain countries in South America and in Africa to come in, set up under the E2 visa. So the E visa with this investment allows you to come in and operate this business. Typically, you'd be given 2 to 3 years to start with, and the visa would typically extend for 5 years at a time. Again, the spouse gets work authorization to work on an unrestricted basis wherever they wish to do so, and kids also can come to school and so on. The only potential downside is that this visa on its own is not what is known as a dual intent visa. This visa, although it continues in perpetuity with regular extensions, does not become or could not, through the business, become a green card type entity. You would need to file for your green card through employment or through additional investment, which we'll talk about in a moment. And that is the basis that you would get a green card if that is what your options consist of. Of course, many guys and girls do not want to become permanent residents and are perfectly content to continue on a non-immigrant basis for tax reasons or whatever else may be the situation in their own countries. So having said all of that, the e-visa is a very useful entity. We do many of them, for example, from Canada and from various other countries. So also a useful visa, and we can certainly talk about that in due course as we go. The third option that I wanted to discuss with you guys is what is called the EB-5. Now, the EB-5 is a traditional investment vehicle which simply requires an investment in the United States. There are two types of EB-5s. One is the active EB-5, where you would invest your own funds into the United States to come in and set up and operate a business. And there are two levels at which you could invest. One is $800,000 for setting up a business in what is called a targeted employment area. And the other is $1,075,000 for a business to be set up in the urban areas. You would also need to show, in addition to the investment, which of course you need to show the source of that funding, you would need to show that you're able to employ 10 new employees over a period of 2 years. Most people do not file for an active EB-5. About 85 to 90% of investors invest as passive investors. So what that means is they invest in a regional center. And a regional center typically requires an investment of $800,000. These are entities which have got permission from the Immigration Service to come in and take investors to invest in their particular projects. So the typical type projects would be, for example, shopping centers, developments, property-based developments, and of course, you would not be alone in investing in these. They typically take in hundreds of investors at the same time. You have no right to have any say in that business. You're simply a passive investor, and there's various ways that those are structured. Of course, you would want to work only with a regional center that has experience, that has been 100% successful with these investments over the years, and certainly we can discuss that. We have worked with a number and continue to work with a number of regional centers which have such a record. Now, of course, you need to do your own due diligence in regard to the regional center. Typically, the investment is made with the regional center for a period of 5 years, and during that time, of course, you cannot recover the money from the regional center, and that is in terms of an agreement that you guys would have directly with the regional center. As far as immigration is concerned, if you're outside the United States, you would have to wait for that EB-5 to be approved. And once that has been done, you can then apply for your conditional green cards. And this applies for you, spouse, children under 21. Once you've got your green cards, that is a green card that is good for 2 years. And at the end of 2 years, you'd need to file to remove the conditions, which we can certainly talk about in due course. The new and improved EB-5 project allows those who are in the United States or would be in the United States for at least 90 days as non-immigrants, in other words, as tourists or with some other visa, to adjust or to apply to adjust their status in the United States after a period of 90 days in the United States. And in so doing, that allows, people are looking for me, that allows those guys to remain in the United States and to apply for interim work authorization, interim travel, and all other options to remain in the United States while the green card is being approved. So these are options under the EB-5 program. Again, I'll be very happy to discuss these with you. You can contact us. Again, my name Grant Kaplan, the law office of Grant Kaplan. Telephone +1 561 347 8440. Email address grant@gkaplanlaw.com, and the website www.american-immigration-lawyer.com. So those are the three big entities that we talk of. There are various others that we certainly can discuss, and what seems to be in fashion at the moment are EB2 NIW visas. These are visas which allow people to come into the United States with certain qualifications, who happen to be outstanding or in the national interest, and come in and file for these. We do these for pilots, we do them for advanced people with various degrees and qualifications, and certainly we can discuss these as well. If you're an employee, of course, you could be offered employment by an entity in the United States as professionals, and you would need to show under what is called the H-1 visa that you're a person with at least the equivalent of a U.S. bachelor's degree, and the position that is being offered to you is for such a position. The employer needs to show that you will be earning at least what is known as the prevailing wage, as determined by the Department of Labor, and the H-1 visas are filed for in March of each year. So if you're a potential employee and you have an offer of employment, we have to file these in March. They only take $65,000 every year, with an additional $20,000 for those who have advanced degrees to be selected. If there are more than $65,000, then there is a random computer-generated lottery which determines the $65,000. If you're an extraordinary person, of course, there are other options for you, such as an O-1 visa. If you're a performer or you're an athlete or whatever it may be, there may be options as well that are available to you. Of course, if you marry a U.S. citizen or you wish to be engaged to a U.S. citizen, we can certainly discuss these, and those options are available to you as well. Finally, in terms of consular processing, nowadays, if you're out of the country, usually you'd be required to attend an interview at a consulate. You should always be prepared for this, and you bearing in mind that once you're at the window, your interviews are likely to take 90 seconds to 5 minutes maximum. So you need to have all of your information, all of your documentation, everything in order to be able to present itself. At the same time, those who may require waivers, in other words, if you've ever overstayed in the United States, if you have a criminal conviction or have any other issues, you may require a waiver to allow you to come back into the United States. We prepare many waivers for clients all over the world, and we can certainly help with these and prepare these documents for you. We're available anytime to chat, and we're very user-friendly. We've been doing this for nearly 24 years. I came across on an L1 visa many years ago, and we'd be happy to discuss these with you. Again, my name is Grant Kaplan, and the email address grant@gkaplanlaw.com, website American-immigration-lawyer.com, and telephone number 561-347-8440. I look forward to hearing from you guys and to assisting you through these fun times. Nice to chat to you.